welcome to Just Chopsing podcast. And today, along with my cousin David, we have the lovely Cheryl Baker.
Hooray!
Hello.
She was a member of Bucks Fizz, the Eurovision Song Contest winners, and they won a song with Making Your Mind Up back in 1981. And I believe you just made some new music, Cheryl.
We've been making new music since we met up with Mike Stock in 2016, so 5 years ago, and we're literally in the middle of making album number 4 with him as the Fizz, me, Mike and Dre. So quite exciting, really.
Yeah, I've got a few written down. The F to Z of Pop, Christmas with a Fizz, and Smoke and Mirrors you made.
Yep.
And obviously you can't tell us what the new one's going to be called yet, I guess.
It's the album with no name, but it's to coincide with our 40th anniversary, so maybe there'll be some reference to that. I don't know. But it's great studio again.
Yeah. I mean, are you going to have a single coming out of the album as well?
Yeah, but as you said, you don't really have singles anymore, do you? It's not like it used to be when you'd go to Woolworths and see all the current singles. People just release a load of songs, throw them at the wall, throw them at Spotify and YouTube and all the others, and you see which one proves to be the most popular. But so we did have singles off the last album and off the first album, not on the second. The second one was, as you say, the Christmas album. So actually, there was a single from there. But anyway, try it. Yes, there probably will be, but at this early stage, I don't know what that will be, although I do have my favourites, being in the studio and hearing the songs, because predominantly they're written by Mike Stock, who's just a genius songwriter, and some of them are just so strong that you think, well, this is going to be a single, so yeah.
That's Mike Stock from Stock Aitken and Waterman then?
Yes, it is. That trio, you see, they all had their own jobs. So Mike Stock was the songwriter, Matt Aitken was the producer, and Pete Waterman did all the press and promotion.
Yeah.
And so that was their jobs. So Mike Stock was the actual main. Matt Aitken did some as well, but it was predominantly Mike Stock. So it's great to be working with him. He's fantastic in the studio, and he works with his son, who is equally as talented. So they're a great combination. And we go in at a reasonable time. We go in at 11, and we're always finished by 6. So it's like a day job with a late start. It's lovely.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, because they wrote some pretty big hits for people like Kylie Minogue, and I mean in her early days and stuff.
Yeah, they did all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't do bad, did they?
Yeah, didn't they call them the Hit Factory or something, the Hit Machine or something like that back in the day?
At one time, they could do no wrong. They absolutely ruled the charts, and you've only got to go into Mike Stock's office and his studios, and every wall is lined. I mean, we did all right. Look, if I show you, we got quite a few records, up our sleeve as Fizz.
Yeah.
That's just us. Because he had Rick Astley and Kylie and Bananarama and Sonia and, oh golly,
yeah, the list goes on, yeah.
etc. It's just, there isn't a space on his wall. So it's, he's had they had massive success, and quite rightly, because they wrote some amazing songs.
Yeah, amazing pop songs,
Yeah.
So when do you think the album will be coming out? Will it be this year? Next year?
It'll be this year. They work fast, actually. I would imagine October. I'd like to think that in October we'll have an album launch. I'm assuming October. We haven't actually discussed it, but I would imagine that because the tracks we've done most of the main vocals. We need to do some extra harmonies and some extra little bits. They need to put more production on, and then they need to mix it and get it mastered and everything. So I don't think that'll happen before October. So I reckon we're looking at an October release.
Okay, because you've got a tour this year as well, haven't you? Is it Up Close and Personal?
Yeah, well, Up Close and Personal was the 2020 tour, that obviously didn't happen.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, where it was a tour with consecutive gigs, now there's a gig here and then there's a gig there and then you wait a month and there's another one. So unfortunately, because of COVID, it's very choppy. You know, it's through this year and into next year, which isn't really ideal. But you know, never mind. We'll get on with it and we'll do it. But after these gigs, these up close and personal gigs, which is where we talk a bit as well about our past, because we've had a bit of a past. Next year we will do more of a live situation with the band. Like for instance, this up close and personal isn't with a band, but it's with a screen, and we sing songs to track, but we talk about what's going on the screen behind us, and we ask the audience to ask us questions and things. So the next tour, which will be next year, will be a live theatre tour with a band.
Yeah, and that'll be touring your new album that's coming out this year then, is it? That's the plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you'll have some questions thrown at you there then, up close and personal.
You do. A lot of the questions are very similar. And you always get, you know, who came up with the skirt rip and what was it like winning the Eurovision and did it change your life? Well, of course it changed our lives. Goodness gracious. Completely changed our lives. But then you do get some unusual ones, and you get some that are personal or some that are unusual, you know. I'm trying to think of them now, but people have different thoughts about you, and they want to know what makes you tick, you know. And like there's one guy who asked, because I've done a lot of running and I've run marathons and half marathons, and he's always supported me because I always do it for charity. Mm-hmm. And he said, "Oh, I could never do that." And I said, "Well, you could actually, you could." And so one of his questions was, "How do I motivate myself?" And I told him my thoughts on that. And he's just run his first half marathon, and he sent me, I don't know how he got my address, but he sent me flowers and a bottle of Prosecco to say thank you, because he's quite plump, and that's why he thought he could never run. But it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter what size you are, if you put your mind to something, you can do it. And that's what he did, and he proved it to be true. And I was so thrilled. And that just came from a question, you know, how do I motivate myself? You know, you did it, how do I do it? And I went, oh. So I was really pleased about that. It was a good success story.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. That is nice.
So talking about your charity work then, because you just touched on a bit of charity work. I mean, you established the Head First charity with Mike after the accident. I mean,
established it for Mike. Mike wasn't in any state to do anything for a very long time. Plus, he was in denial. He didn't want to talk about it. It was almost as if he cut it from his mind. So, but Mike's always been very special to me. So I was actually a trustee, which means that you go to all the meetings and everything. You don't just, you know, do a fundraiser. You're very involved. So that's not going on anymore because, unfortunately, all the other trustees either died or got too old to do it. I was the only one left.
Oh, okay.
But we did. In the meantime, we raised hundreds of thousands of pounds, and we researched into brain trauma and did some amazing work. So I am very proud of that.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. Oh, that's a shame then that the charity was collapsed. Well, not collapsed, but it's now defunct, I guess.
It's defunct, but there are other charities that have taken over. So same sort of thing. So the work will still be done. And I think now, with having children, I mean, my children are 27 years old now, so they're not babies. But when they were born, I think all my kind of efforts and fundraising then went to children's charities. I don't know why. I mean, I do support other charities as well, but my main charities now are, I live in Kent, so there's a Kent hospice for children called Demelza. I'm a vice president of that, and I'm a vice president of one called Abigail's Footsteps, which is for parents who have had stillborn babies or a baby that has died very soon after birth, because I almost lost one of mine. Okay. So I kind of, that really, really struck a chord with me. So, so they're my main two, but I'm a big supporter of, you know, Great Ormond Street and lots of others.
Yeah, I saw that you're vice president of Abigail's Footsteps. Actually, I wrote that down. That was going to be another one of my questions, but you beat me to it. So, so yeah, and then okay. So, do you think your career got a bit derailed then after the bus crash? Because obviously, with Mike being in a coma for so long.
Yeah, I think the Bucks Fizz career got derailed. That's
Yeah, the Bucks Fizz, yeah.
Absolutely, but my personal career actually, in an ironic sort of way, it gave me time and made me available to start my TV career. I had started it in 1984. I started with a children's program called How Dare You. But because Mike was in hospital and we couldn't work for many months, I was offered lots of other TV work. And so, on the one hand, it was disastrous because Mike almost lost his life. I broke vertebrae in my spine. Everyone was injured in some way. But I expanded my work profile because I was asked to do TV presenting. And from doing one job, I was asked to do another and another and another and another. And really, until 1997, my main job, even though I was still with Upstairs, my main job was TV.
Yeah. And well, in 87 you joined Record Breakers then?
Yeah, I joined Record Breakers in 86 or 87, I think. Coach Crash was December 85. After that, I did some work for London Weekend Television called the 6 o'clock show. I did the Saturday Picture Show for the BBC up in Manchester with the wonderful Mark Curry. And then I did, I think that was, and then I joined Record Breakers, I think that was the next one.
Did that take over from Swap Shop, that?
No.
Show?
I guess what, did it?
I can't remember.
Yeah, it may have done. Swap Shop. I'll tell you what, and do you remember Saturday Superstore?
Yeah.
I sang the theme for that. Saturday morning, get down to the Superstore. Yeah, that was me and Dave Edmonds and Susie Quattro and Junior. The four of us were the singers on that, so that was good.
Oh. Well, we missed a trick on that one, Dave, because we've had Susie Quattro on. We could have brought that up.
Yeah, I was talking to Terry earlier, and both of us said, you know, sort of Record Breakers was a mainstay for us growing up, obviously with yourself and Roy Castle.
Yeah.
Were there any unusual sort of records that you had to watch people do?
Every record is unusual because you're watching someone who's trying to be the best in the world at something. I mean, that's pretty extraordinary. But yeah, I mean, you've got the not so much the silly ones like the plate spinning. You can spin the plates longest, but you've also got the fantastic ones like I think it was Randolph Fiennes, when he walked to the North and the South Pole, and you just think that's astonishing that you did that. That's astonishing. And he came on with his dog, and his dog was like a big old mountain dog, and we had, I don't know if you're aware, but in television studios they paint the floor every day with this kind of whitewash just to clean it all up because of scuffs and things. And this dog was slobbering over it, and it was getting all the paint all over his book, and it was coming off on his body. But also the one where the Russian cosmonauts had spent the longest in space, and we had this interpreter. So there are crazy records, but there are ones, physical exertion ones, where someone's done something incredible. But we broke some records as well. Roy broke loads, as you probably know. But while I was on the programme, we broke the world's biggest jazz band. We did the world's longest river dance line to the river dance music. I mean, I had to learn river dance. That was only an excerpt of it, because the main dancers came and did most of it, and me and Mark Curry was like a guest on that programme. We had to go on and do a part of it. Oh, it was so hard to remember it. And we did that, and we did the world's longest rope slide, which was from the top of Blackpool Tower, which when you look up, you think, oh, that's high. But let me tell you, when you're on the top looking down, it's a lot higher.
Yeah.
It's really scary. So yeah, well, I went in the book a few times. That was good fun.
That's nice. I didn't realise that you broke records yourself.
Yeah, there was one record that I was asked to do and I refused. I did try it first of all, and Roy Castle was afraid of heights, so I didn't think he would try this. This was wing walking, and they strapped us onto the top of a plane, and it took off. And I don't like being in a plane, let alone on it. But anyway, we took off, and it was in Wiltshire, and Wiltshire is quite undulating, and so you're getting all the thermals of the air, warm air, and the plane was doing this, and I thought, oh, I can't have this, because it was like the actual record was to go across the English Channel and into France and blah blah blah, and I was up on the plane for about 15 minutes, I suppose, and I landed, and the producer went, well, and I went, not on your life. I said, I can't do it. But remarkably, Roy Castle, who was afraid of heights, agreed to do it. And so on the day, I flew to France to meet him with the cameras and everything. And when he landed, he had his goggles on, and they had flies all over them. And he had this ridiculous suit on, this leather suit that they gave him, which was completely inappropriate. And it had been flapping against his legs. It caused his knees to swell. And he said, while they were going over the English Channel, he thought to himself, what am I doing? I'm risking my neck for the programme. We could just dive into the sea and you'll never see me again. You know, he had this moment of absolute fear. But anyway, it was another Roy Castle record he broke.
Yeah, the guy was amazing, wasn't he?
He really was amazing, and he was lovely. He was kind. He would always give you time. He was really a really good person, Roy Castle.
Yeah. It's such a shame.
Oh, I don't know. I can't make it out. I just find it strange when someone's as good as that, you know, to be taken so early. But there you go. That's life, or death.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. So you had a bit of theatre work as well?
Yeah, I did quite a bit actually. I did a few plays and I did a few musicals, some silly musicals, some that were semi-pro, so they had me and a few other professionals, but it's a bit like Panto really. I did Susical the Musical, and I did Beauty and the Beast. I did lots of pantos, but the main theatre I suppose I did was Footloose. I did Footloose for a year. I did 6 months touring, or 3 months might be touring, and then 9 months in the West End. And then I did Happy Days the Musical as Mrs. Cunningham. Great fun. But I did plays as well, and that was a bit nerve-wracking, I must say, doing the plays. I did Diana M for Murder, which is it's a nail-biting kind of...
Is that Agatha Christie?
I don't know if it's Agatha Christie, but it's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's where someone's trying to murder someone, and actually I think he's trying to murder me. He was trying to murder me, and I'm laying on the table, and there was a pair of scissors, and I grabbed the scissors and I stabbed him. And I mean, that's me, Cheryl Baker, fluffy, bubbly, doing something like that. It was really not in my comfort zone at all, but I did it, so I was quite pleased about that actually. Did
you have acting lessons?
No.
Okay, no. So you just winged it.
I did wing it. Absolutely. But I did listen to the director and took his points and notes and everything, and took them on board, and I got some good reviews actually, so I was quite pleased about that. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you should have them up on your wall, framed next to your gold discs.
I should do.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, okay. Then I suppose the age of reality TV kicked in, and you went to quite a few reality TV programs.
We
I
have to.
see. Well, you don't have to. I mean, I haven't entered any, but
Don't really want to see you on the television.
not yet, anyway.
You want to keep your profile up. You
Yeah,
have
relevant. Yeah, if you want to stay relevant.
I have to, because that's the only way I earn my living. So the more you're seen, the more people want to see you, the more they want to book the band or book me, or So it comes with the job, So
Yeah,
if
yeah.
that TV's gone, that's it. That's what you join in with.
I was going to say then, are you booked in for any more, seeing as you've got a new album coming out?
We will have. I mean, once the album, once we have a release date, then we'll have a PR company that will book us interviews and TV spots, hopefully. Yeah, but we've got a lot of gigs in the book already, as you know, probably looking at our date sheet. But
Yeah,
yeah, we're quite busy. We don't want to be too busy. I mean, we're all, a little bit older. And certainly Mike doesn't want to travel too much anymore. It's at the moment it's kind of, sometimes it's 3 forthcoming weeks anyway, 3 in a week, and then you have a week off. That's fine for Mike. He can handle that. Because when it's 3 gigs, it's not just 3 gigs. It's all the rehearsals beforehand.
Yeah.
It's the travelling. It's the overnight staying in a hotel. It's the travelling back on a day when maybe it's someone's birthday. It's not as when you look at our date sheet, it's not as cut and dried as it looks. So he doesn't want to do too much. So we're never going to have a jam-packed diary date, but that's all right. That's all right.
Yeah, you don't need it now, do you? I mean, I don't mean to say anything about your age, but as you get getting older, it's like, well, you've got to put limits on yourself a little bit.
Well, also, see, I still feel fit and well, and I'm totally capable. But I like being home. I like being home and having the family over. My kids, because of COVID, both of my kids had moved away from home, but they've both moved back and they're still here, which is amazing. I mean, they're spending more time with their partners now, but they all seem to, like this weekend, I want to be home because they're all here. Next weekend, it's my husband's got a birthday party on the Sunday, and all the kids are going out, and my husband on the Friday. I'm going to be up in Blackpool because we've got a gig, so I'm missing all that. I'm driving home on Sunday morning just in time to prepare the food for the party that we're having at about 5 or 6 o'clock on Sunday. So it's you have to make a compromise, but
Yeah.
sometimes a gig really gets in the way,
Yeah.
I'm totally fit and well enough to go out on tour, but I've got a dog that needs walking, and I've got kids here, and I want to spend time at home.
Yeah. So you touched on a bit of wing walking then, but go into your celebrity television. You did a program called Drop the Celebrity?
Yes.
So they actually threw you out of an aeroplane then?
Yes, and I landed and I broke my ankle. So, yeah, it was the whole thing was one of those silly programs where the public have to vote who they want to stay in the plane, and whoever wins gets £10,000 for their chosen charity. So I won, and all the other celebrities had to jump, and the guy who presented it said, "Well, Cheryl, you've won £10,000 for your chosen charity, but I will give you another 5,000 if you jump." So I had to jump.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And actually, I wanted to, because I wanted to know what it was like. But stupidly, because I broke my vertebrae in my spine when we had the coach crash, I was terrified of any impact on my spine. coming down to land, and I'd been told that I had to tuck my knees up and land on my bum, and I was terrified of it. I was terrified of hitting it, doing something to my spine. So instead, like an idiot, I put my feet down and tried to run. And you just can't fast. You can't because the parachute is just dragging you along. And so my foot just did this, and I broke my ankle.
Did they scrap that program after that? Because it sounds a bit dangerous. They did they?
They did.
Because it's like, oh, we can't get insurance for this. We got to get rid of this. So other programs were you on? I'm Famous and Frightened.
Oh,
What's that about?
That was ridiculous. Do you know, they try, when these programs about scary things, they try and make something scary, which was surrounded with cameras and lights. There's nothing scary about it at all. And once that I remember going, it was a castle or some haunted, they reckon it's the most haunted building in England. And it was in Northumberland somewhere. And we had to go in there, in this room, and the bloke with all the powers, he went, King Henry VIII was in the room with us. And I went, for goodness sake, why would King Henry VIII be in here with us on a TV? But that's convenient, isn't it? Anyway, they voted me off after that.
Yeah, we had a guy on a few weeks ago, we were talking about ghost stories. What was that guy's name, Dave? Derek? The medium guy?
Yeah.
Derek Akora, yeah, that was him, yeah. And he had a bit of an episode, and he was in this haunted house with some people and his camera crew, and he got possessed by this ghost.
Oh, blimey.
And he started shouting, "Mary loves Dick."
Don't we all?
And he was there and everybody just, as soon as the camera stopped filming, because everybody's like trying to be serious, and he's there shouting, "Mary loves Dick, Mary loves Dick." And everybody's like being serious, and then when the camera stopped, everyone just started laughing, and they were like, what was that all about? So, but yeah, what do you think about these ghost shows? Do you watch them?
No, I don't, but I do find them funny. I mean, if I happen to switch one on, then I might watch it. And certainly if I was invited on one, because I do find the paranormal very interesting. I also think it's a load of old eyewash, but who knows? I mean, my mum, before she died, she was seeing people, she was seeing things, and she was going, go away, and I thought, well, I think probably she can see. So I don't know. Maybe something's there. I don't think ever I will see a ghost in my lifetime. I hope not, anyway. But I find it very interesting. I went to a place called the Clink once. It was, it used to be, actually it's why jails are called the Clink, because there was a jail in Clink Street. And so that's why they said, oh, we're going to the Clink, you know. Oh, robbery. Oh, yeah. So that's where that comes from. I went to the Clink, and there was one part. Now it might just have been a draft from somewhere, but there was one part that suddenly my body went cold. It was a real chill, and the paranormal bloke said, oh, "There's a ghost, for want of a better word, there's a spirit here." And I just wanted to get out of there quickly. But I did feel it. I did feel this cold chill. But like I say, there might have been a window open, so I don't know. But
yeah.
I do find them interesting, but I don't go out of my way to watch them.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a bit of a running joke on here on the podcast about ghosts only coming out in the night, you know, and they seem to record all these programs in the dark.
Yes.
And it's impossible to see a ghost walking down the beach on a sunny afternoon, apparently.
That's right.
So, yeah, we're always a bit sceptical. But who's to say? I mean, nobody's ever recorded anything, or officially, I don't think.
No. Well, I don't know. It's like the Loch Ness monster, isn't it? So.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely real.
I've got a feeling that if he did exist, he might have popped his clogs by now. He's been around for centuries, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
A few hundred years at least, yeah, I guess. So, yeah, I don't know about all these things. I mean, we had a lovely lady on a few weeks ago talking about how she's been abducted by aliens and stuff. So
there's a lot of people in America, obviously, but there's a lot of people that tell those stories about being abducted by aliens. And where I live on a farm, and so I always walk the dog last thing at night before I go to bed. So it's usually between 12 and 1 o'clock in the morning, and I walk him out and there's nothing and nobody. There's just black sky, twinkly stars maybe, can't see a light anywhere, except from I have the light on my phone on, you know, and my dog runs off and sniffing and things. And I think if there was a spaceship up there that wanted to abduct someone, now's the time, because nobody would know. Not yet, anyway.
maybe they took your dog and they dropped him back without you knowing it. So, pop star to opera star, how did you do on that?
That was I had to audition for that, and I went up, and there was this fantastic singing coach. She was amazing. Can't remember her name. Anyway, Nina, I think it was. And she asked me to sing opera, and I sang what I thought was opera. And she said, right now, take the mickey out of it, as if you're making fun of an opera singer. And I went, and she went, that's it, that's what you have to do. You know, you've got to sing through the stomach, and you've got to expel and project your voice. And so, yeah, I did it, and I did good. I did all right. I came second to Joan McKelvey, who was always going to win, because everybody loved Joan, so including me, and still do. So
not because it was fixed.
It wasn't fixed. He got 70% of the vote every single week, and we started off with 8 of us. So 8 of us shared 30%, and he had the other 70. Every week he got 70%. People loved him. You know, the young kids loved him, but so did all the grannies and granddads. So it was always going to be Joan. But he's a great singer, so I didn't mind that at all. I didn't expect to get as far as I did, so, you know, I was up against Claire from Steps. I think she's got an amazing voice, and I beat her somehow. So it was great.
All right, and then your last one then was Dancing on Ice, so you're obviously a better singer than you are a dancer.
I'm a very good dancer, I'll have you know. On ice. My husband said if it had been called Dancing on Arse, I might have won. I don't know if you can. But I'm going to see my Dan next week. When we go up to Blackpool for the gig, I'm going to go up 2 days early, and I'm going to stay with Dan Whiston, because we struck up a friendship. To the day I die, he will be one of my closest friends. I just adored him. We just clicked. It was amazing. And so the whole Dancing on Ice experience was fantastic, except for the ice. I loved the cast. We had so much fun, and all of the professionals. We socialised all the time. I did the tour. I mean, considering I hated the skating, I was terrified of the ice. Terrified. I was terrified of falling over and hurting my back.
Yeah.
That's all it was. And I did take a really nasty fall when I was in training and hit my head, and I thought, I'm just gonna hang on to Dan from now on, and that's what I did. I never let go of his hand. But the social side of things, we would go out every night, we would go clubbing, I'd be dancing. Sometimes I'd get back to the hotel at 4 o'clock in the morning. It was like being a teenager again. It was so much fun. We had so many laughs. And I'm still in contact with them, and I adore them all, but especially my Dan. And the worst part about the whole experience was skating.
Oh. Yeah, I can't skate to save my life either, so...
I bet it would have been a nightmare with your ankle as well, wasn't it? So where you had your ankle injury.
Yeah.
When you stand on skates, it puts pressure on your ankles.
Well, it does. And when I was young, I used to go skating in London. There was a place called Queen's Club. I used to go there quite regularly, and I would whiz round. I had no fear. I hadn't injured myself in any way at that time, and I loved it. And I thought, so therefore, when I was asked to do Dancing on Ice, I thought, I can do this. I did it when I was young. But as an adult, I am full of fear now of falling and hurting myself, because I know what it feels like and I know how long it takes to get over it. And so that was it. It was the fear that took over for me, and I just couldn't, even standing still. We did the photo shoot at the beginning of the series, and just standing still on the ice, I thought, it's going to bring a migraine on. I'm so tense, I'm so scared of falling over. And I went, someone come and get me. Just standing still. I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
So I've sold my boots for charity.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Did you sign them?
My Dan said, don't get rid of them, don't get rid of them. You never know, you might need them again. But I don't think I know where they've gone to, and I know the person who bought them. So if I ever did need them, I know he'd let me have them back. But I don't think that day's ever going to happen.
So, but did you sign them?
Yeah, I did sign them. He wanted them signed.
Yeah, you got to sign them. I mean, any memorabilia like that, it's got to be signed, hasn't it? So it's always nice for the person that's receiving it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got anything, Dave?
No, we've already touched on the Eurovision Song Contest. I mean, but it wasn't your first entrance, was it? Because you were in a band called Coco as well.
We did the Eurovision in 1978, and we came 11th, which at that time was the worst the UK had ever done.
Oh, right. You made up for it 3 years later.
We'd have the bunting, wouldn't we, if we came 11th this time?
Yeah, yeah, we would.
Yeah.
But that was a record as well, wasn't it? When you won to becoming 11th in Coco and then winning in Bucks Fizz.
3 years later, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a record for the most progression.
Oh yeah, I suppose it was. Yeah, I was very involved with the Song for Europe every year. It seemed. I joined my first band in 1975, and I did my first Song for Europe in 1976, and we lost to Brotherhood of Man when they won with Save Your Kisses for Me. We lost by 2 points. So it was very, very close. And then 2 years later, of course, we did it again and we won. But I also did the demo for the Nolans, which I think was it was either 77 or 79. The Nolans were in it. And the song was called Harry, My Honolulu Lover. And I did all of the vocals on the demo. And it was the demo that they chose to go through to the final. So I was really chuffed about that. So I was involved in that. And then in 1980, I did the Song for Europe as a band called The Main Event, and we came last.
Yeah, yeah.
And then 1981, I joined Bucks Fizz, and here I am. And there they all are.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
perseverance paid.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I said it was #1 in 8 or 9 different countries.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you know what I mean? It's and then 50 million records sold as well through your career. So it's not bad going, really, is it?
It's all right, isn't it? It's not bad.
Yeah.
Making Your Mind Up sold, I think, 4 million. Land of Make Believe sold 1 million in the UK. We've got, where's my thing for that? I don't think it's up here. I'll have to get it. It's an Ampeg thing with a big thing on it saying 1 million sales sold just in the UK alone, which then was a big thing. And also, all these years, you had to sell, hang on, let's have a look. This one's Land of Make Believe. You had to sell 500,000 to get a gold disc. I think now to get a gold disc, you have to sell 3 or something.
Well, 3 copies or 3 million. But were you always Eurovision driven then? Because didn't you really have a pop career before you started all the Eurovision stuff?
I had a pop career, yeah. We did the Eurovision stuff at the same time. Like I say, we did the first Song for Europe in 1976 as Coco, but we were a covers band, and in the 70s there was a lot of work, and so we would just travel up and down the motorways and working all the time. Every week you'd be working, even though we weren't famous. There was always work for you, and so we were a gigging band. And then, thankfully, Bucks Fizz came along, and suddenly I had a name, and we could perform our own hits. And what we do now, we had a lot of hits. We had 3 #1s and another 4 or 5 top 10s and another few top 20s. So actually, we've got, when we do a gig, we can easily just fill it with our own hits.
Yeah.
But we do an 80s medley. We do one little 10 or 12 minute medley of 80s songs. Just because the 80s was an amazing decade, really. But it is wonderful to be able to go on stage and just do your own material. It's fabulous.
Yeah, it must be good. What got you involved in music in the first place then?
I wanted to do it from the moment I was born. I loved music. My sister is 11 years older than me, and she used to buy Buddy Holly and the Everly Brothers. Actually, it was the Everly Brothers it was the harmonies that the Everly Brothers sang that mesmerised me. And I didn't just want to be a singer, I wanted to be a singer in a band singing harmony. And that's what I do. That's my forte. I do most of the harmonies on all of our stuff, and I work them out. I loved Eurovision because when Sandy Shaw won in 1967, I thought then, I want to be a singer in a band, but I want to win the Eurovision Song Contest. So miraculously, I actually had a childhood dream and I fulfilled it. My other childhood dream was to win an Olympic gold medal. So I'm still hoping for that one.
Not in wing walking.
or skating.
Very good. All right, I don't think we got my... well, actually, I've got a few questions I want to ask you. Going back to your show then, that you do sort of an evening with. I mean, I've read something. I mean, I hope you're not going to cut me off for this. But I'm sure it was on Record Breakers. I saw you one day and you said that when you got excited, you used to pass wind.
No, I don't. No, not when I get excited, when I get nervous.
Oh, it's when you get nervous. See, I was trying to tell David on, but I couldn't find anything about it on the internet. And I was
all I was saying, don't ask her for God's sake.
I stand in the wings and I go, oh. In the Bucks Fizz days, we had a dresser and she would go out during the day when we were rehearsing or whatever, and she would buy me these charcoal tablets called wind cheaters. And I would take one of those before I went on stage. Never worked. I'm all right. You know, once I'm on stage, I'm fine, but I do get nervous, and nerves do. Yeah, that's how it materialises.
Yeah, because I'm sure you mentioned it on Record Breakers in one episode, and that's how
I wouldn't have mentioned it on Record Breakers, but I would have mentioned it on other programmes. It wasn't appropriate for Record Breakers.
I don't know. It depends about your record you were trying to break.
Exactly.
All right, how did you meet Mike Nolan? Because he was like the original member, if you like, of Bucks Fizz.
Well, that was it. I went. The woman who put Bucks Fizz together, she knew of me because of doing the Eurovision before, and she knew that what was the criteria was not just you could sing and dance. You had to be blonde and the right height. You couldn't be taller than Mike Nolan, because she built a band around Mike. So we all had to be short and blonde. And if we weren't, I mean, you had to be short. There's nothing you can do about that unless you cut someone's legs off. But if you're not blonde, which Bobby G wasn't, then you had to go into the hairdresser and have your hair highlighted. So, which is what they did with him. But she invited me along to listen to the song, and that's when I first met Mike Nolan. And we just clicked immediately, and we struck up a friendship that to this day, you know, I would say that we are like brother and sister. In fact, possibly more so, because I see Mike and talk to Mike much more than I talk to my brother and sister, so brothers and sister.
Yeah, okay. Of course, now because you've had the trouble with the name, and now you call yourselves the Fizz. Yeah. You know, because Bobby G had a falling out with David Van Day about it. I mean...
No, what it was, Bobby G's wife registered the trademark. So actually she owns the name. Okay. Not me. So in effect, if he split up with her, she could still go out as Bucks Fizz. I just think it's by the letter of the law, it's correct, but morally it's wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not just that, I mean, they have purposely tried to stop us performing. And I'd like to have been a fly on the wall when we were told that we could use the name The Fizz, because I reckon that he would have been straight onto the trademarks people to say there is an infringement on our trademark. But it was the trademarks people who said to me, you can use The Fizz. And he would have been in contact with him. He wouldn't have let that go. And that's why I'd like to have been a fly on the wall, and I'd like to have landed on his head and had a poo.
I take you don't speak to him anymore then.
I don't mean it. I think it's sad, you know, this late in the day, 40 years after winning Eurovision. I think it's a sad situation, but it's definitely cost us a lot of gigs and a lot of the position on the bill. You know, with the gig that we're doing on Saturday, in Blackpool, the bands that are on, the artists that are higher on the bill than us, didn't have anywhere near the amount of hits that we had. But we can't be called Bucks Fizz, so we're called The Fizz, and then who knows who The Fizz are? You know what I mean? Some people do. Some people are aware that, you know, we've made quite a lot of we had a lot of interviews and things, you know, over the past few years saying that we're The Fizz. But if they haven't seen those interviews, then they don't know who we are. Whereas everybody knows who Bucks Fizz is.
Yeah.
So I feel a little bit bitter.
Yeah, 40 years, you'd think that you have the name back now, wouldn't you?
Well, you know what? They don't use it. They're not gigging.
Yeah.
So, like, it's my ball. You can't have it. I'm not going to have it, but you can't have it either. And I think that's the sad thing. But there you go.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah. Well, if it should be anyone's ball, then maybe it should be Mike's, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a shame.
Around him, yeah. But there you are.
That's it. Okay.
All right, well.
I've got to go and pick my husband up. He finished his golf tournament at 4 o'clock. And he's been sending me texts while I'm on with you. With these faces, these emojis of faces going like, oh.
Where's my dinner? All right, Cheryl, thanks for talking to us.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. It's been wonderful speaking.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. And good luck with your new record. Good luck with new shows.
Thank you.
And we'll share everything on our socials.
Come and see us if we're in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, David will. I don't know if you're going to come to Holland, so anytime soon. I'm in Holland, yeah.
We were always in Holland promoting singles, always, and yet we've never worked live there. It's ridiculous.
Oh, okay.
And can I just add that the trademark that Bobby's wife owns is a UK trademark. So anywhere other than the UK, we can be called Bucks Fizz.
Ah, so if I book you a few shows over here, then you can...
And I'm throwing down the gauntlet. Get us in.
There you go.
I'll get you on with Susie Quattro.
Yes, that'd be amazing.
That'd be great, wouldn't it?
She's great. Go on, I'm going to go now and pick my husband up. So,
all right, thanks, Cheryl.
Yeah, thanks very much.
bye.
Bye. There you go.
Amazing.
How was that?
Fab, wasn't it? It was definitely the first guest I wanted us to book, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that was the first guest that you asked me to book.
Yeah, I can't remember whether that was in a podcast or whether it was just a conversation that we might have had, but awesome. Done it.
Yeah,
right. I just sat there and smiled all the way through. It's awesome.
Yeah, there's a few little bits of silences, but I mean, I tried to keep it going as much as I could.
No, it was good. Very good. She was lovely, wasn't she?
Yeah, nice. Very good.
Yeah,
So,
enjoyed that. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Thank you very much.
all right then, mate. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what sort of response we get from that one. I mean, we really need a bigger... I mean, I can post it. I'm in Holland, so I can post it as Bucks Fizz if I want.
Yeah, you can.
I can't I?
Yes, you can, yes.
So, amazing. Yeah, I will. I'll do it on my fucking... Oh, sorry, I shouldn't swear. Because I'm swore all day.
I'm excited.
That's the difference between me and Cheryl. When she gets nervous, she farts, and when I get excited, I swear.
The Tourette's comes out.
I had to ask her that question.
Well,
I was looking at your face as I was saying it.
Please don't. I was thinking it's going so well.
As I said, you might hang up on me here, but...
Oh, good.
All right then, mate.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at there. And yeah, I hope everyone enjoys it. I mean, I hope everybody's got to learn a little bit about Cheryl Baker. And yeah, good luck. Hope she gets some good success with her new music.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. All right,
Wait.
rock and roll.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Catch you later.
Ta-ra.